Okay, this is 3-1. I tried to record this earlier. I was dropping frames. Let's hope it works now. The thing about 3-1, it's a little bit tricky to learn, but once you learn it, it's not too bad. The hard part about learning it is because of the darkness. You need to know a few visual cues. The first visual cue you need to worry about is right here. So this is what it looks like when it's lit up. The one I use is the backdrop. So one thing about this stage, the backdrop is always the same. Notice how this is totally lined up, this edge of this tree and this cliff. So what I do is when the middle of, I plan so that when the middle of my sprite, middle of Ryu, is lined up here, I jump, or a little bit earlier. Two other cues you can use is this flame is going to spawn, and the light is flashing. My reflexes aren't that great. If I tried to use the light flashing, I would probably just fall off. The flame, he spawns a little bit earlier, so you have to see him spawn and wait it a little bit. I wouldn't recommend doing those though. I would just recommend looking at this tree. That tree is always the same. So going on, these two ninpos, or not ninpos, orbs you need to get. This is the downfire, or I think in the game it's called the Dragon Ball. I'll just call it the downfire though, everyone knows what that means. And this is red ninpo. This one is, both of them are pretty crucial. If you miss this one, you could try to do a few backup strats, but it'll probably get pretty ugly. Now there's a few ways to deal with this part. One is to just go far over and jump like I did there, and I missed this fire. The other is to jump earlier, you get hit by that fire. So you take some damage, but this bat actually spawns a little bit higher, so it's easier to slash him. Now, how to deal with this bat is actually kind of tricky. What I do is I jump at the last possible time, and I slash immediately. So I don't pay so much attention to the bat, I pay more attention to the cliff. And I try to jump at the last possible moment, and if you slash right afterward, you'll kill the bat. Now here's the other visual cue you have to worry about. About here is when I jump. I look at the halfway point of this, and as the front of me is approaching it, or alternatively you could look at the left of this and like the middle of his sprite, you want to jump. And what it does is it jumps you right into this pit. So yeah, when the front of you gets to the middle, or when the middle of you gets to the left, you jump. And you have to down slash this guy. Down slashing him isn't that hard. This is the other cue. About when the middle of your sprite is on the right side, maybe a little bit further, you want to jump. Yeah, a little bit further actually. You can almost have your whole sprite outside of this and be okay. Yeah, so further, otherwise you'll clip the edge of this. Like right there is the cliff. So yeah, let me see. You can see it more brightly. Unfortunately, that's off the screen. There's two ways to do this next part. Well, this you have to do. For whatever reason, when the fires are spawning, you can't slash them to kill them, but you can use special weapons to kill them, but only certain ones. I think everything except for the starting ninja star kills them. But this is a part where there's two things you can do. One is you jump into this guy, you hold A, and you hold right, and it just sort of boosts you like that. The Q is pretty simple. You don't really need a Q so much. You just jump around here somewhere and you'll hit him. But you hold A. This is sort of like the opposite of what you do in 2-2 with a ladder boost. Here you hold A because you actually do want to get boosted over. And then what you do is you climb up and you get over there. There's a few ways you can handle this next part. This is probably the hardest part of the stage. There's a bat down here. What I do is if you jump, actually with the exact same cue as the other jump at the top, when the middle of your sprite is in the middle of this. Or wait, is it? No, sorry, it's the opposite. It's when the middle of your sprite is at the edge of this. Like you want half of this thing to be covering you, basically. You jump, and what it does is there's actually a little pillar here, and it puts you right on that pillar, and then you jump immediately, and it sets you up for this bat. It's a pretty difficult slash, but you can down slash him and hit him. That's actually gonna hit him. You can see this pillar here. You don't really need to memorize this pillar's location, you just need to know that jump. For the other pillars, it may be a good idea to sort of try to remember where they are relative to these trees when you're first learning the stage. The only one I remember is right up here, like this is close to that tree. So let's see, when I was first learning the stage, I think I had a good idea of where they all were relative to the trees. But now, since I know it well enough, I just sort of know where they are relative to each other. I know the distance, like if I'm on top of this one, I know this is so much distance away, even if it's pitch black. In any case, do whatever works for you here to learn these pillars. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it's hard to learn, not that hard once you actually figure it out though, to execute. There's this guy, you can downfire him. There's another ninpo here, downfire this guy. Nothing too hard. This is a funny thing here, because this flame, like I mentioned before, you can't slash him. You can downfire him. If you downfire though, you probably won't make this jump. So what you want to do is you want to jump close to as late as possible, and you also want to slash as late as possible. Slashing as late as possible is basically the only cue I've found that is useful for this flame. I don't actually use a cue. Whenever I've tried to actually use a cue, I start messing it up. So I do it by feel, but my general intuition is just like slash as late as possible and you'll kill him. You can sort of be inside the flame and hold slash. So let me see if this is a light up. Yeah, you can see this is where that cliff is. And that guy's coming, you can just up slash him or jump over him. He's easy to deal with. And that's 3-1. Hard stress. There's only one, and it's not that hard, but it only saves time if you execute it well. So I wouldn't recommend learning it too early on. And it's right up here. So after we do this, what we do is, instead of, so normally you would jump here, oops, jump and hold right to go up like that, or hold A and right. Instead what I do is I jump, I hold A, but instead of just holding right and going to that other wall, I hold right for a little bit, but then I slash back onto this wall. So slash back on. And even if you mess it up a little bit, it still saves time, but you can't like completely mess it up. Like one problem is you can't go back too fast, otherwise that happens, and that still may have saved time, but it was pretty sloppy. And what this does is it lets you jump a lot sooner. So I usually test this frame by frame. It says like, I don't know, 1/10 of a second maybe. It's nothing super significant, but it's not that hard to do. There's another strat in 4-1 that has sort of a same general idea in mind. This is the only strat here. So you do this, jump, slash the bird. One thing about this bird or bat too is you can wait. You wait when you jump, and it's sometimes easier to kill him. But if you just time it right, you can kill him too. That's it for 3-1.